There are moments when every visible fact seems to say that a door has closed, the years have passed, the expected season has ended, the ordinary explanation no longer seems possible. And then, in the middle of that certainty, comes an announcement that changes the future of entire generations. The announcement was the birth of Prophet Ishaq. But why does the Quran preserve this announcement so carefully while revealing so few details about the rest of his life? What are we meant to notice in the story of a prophet whose importance is unquestionable, even though his personal biography remains mostly hidden from us? Welcome to the Guided Hour, where every journey carries a story and every story carries guidance. Today, we journey through the story of Prophet Ishaq, the child whose birth was announced as a sign of mercy and whose legacy would continue through generations of prophets. Before entering the story, we must begin with honesty. The Quran names Prophet Ishaq many times. It identifies him as a prophet, it calls him righteous, it places him among the chosen and the finest. It associates him with strength, insight, worship, leadership, and remembrance of the final home. Yet the Quran does not give us a continuous account of his childhood, his daily life, his journeys, or the individual events of his mission. Reliable, authenticated reports also do not provide enough information to construct a detailed biography lasting hour after hour. That silence is not a gap we are free to fill with imagination. We cannot invent conversations for him. We cannot describe private thoughts that revelation did not reveal. We cannot confidently assign every traditional location, family detail, date, or sequence to his life, merely because those details appear in later storytelling. So this journey will remain with what the Quran preserves, and perhaps that discipline will help us discover something important. A person does not need to occupy the largest number of pages to hold an essential place in the story. Some lives are remembered through dramatic confrontation. Others are remembered because they carried truth faithfully from one generation into the next. Prophet Ishaq belongs to a family marked by extraordinary tests. His father, Prophet Ibrahim, stood against the worship of created things. He challenged the beliefs of his people. He separated himself from what they worshipped besides Allah. Surah Maryam connects that separation with a remarkable gift. After Prophet Ibrahim withdrew from his people and what they worshipped besides Allah, Allah granted him Prophet Ishaq and Prophet Yaqub and made each of them a prophet. Notice the movement. Separation comes before the gift. That does not mean every sacrifice in life will be followed by the exact worldly outcome we desire. The Quran does not teach us to turn obedience into a transaction, but it does show that leaving falsehood is not the end of a person's story. Prophet Ibrahim had separated from familiar people, familiar customs, and the structures of belonging that surrounded him. From an ordinary human perspective, separation can look like a narrowing of the future. Who will remain? What will continue? What will come after this loss? The answer came in a form that Prophet Ibrahim could not have produced by his own power. A family line of prophets would continue after him. This is one of the great tensions in human life. We often know that something is wrong, but we fear what will happen if we leave it. A person may know that a dishonest environment is damaging their character, yet fear losing security. Someone may recognize that a relationship is built upon manipulation, but fear loneliness. A family may understand that a harmful pattern must end, while still wondering what will replace it. Faithfulness does not always reveal the next chapter before the present decision is made. Prophet Ibrahim could not build his trust upon knowing every future detail. His trust was in Allah. And the gift that followed was not merely a continuation of his biological family, it was a continuation of guidance. The Quran brings us to another scene. Honored visitors came to Prophet Ibrahim. He brought food to them, but when he saw that their hands did not reach toward it, he became uneasy and afraid. The Quran does not invite us to mock that fear. It presents the reaction plainly. Something was unusual. The visitors did not behave as ordinary guests behaved. Before Prophet Ibrahim understood the full nature of the moment, he experienced uncertainty. Then reassurance came. He was told not to be afraid. These visitors were angels, although they must never be visually represented as human characters in our production. They had come with more than one mission. Part of their message concerned the people of Prophet Lut. But before that difficult mission continued, they carried good news. The Quran describes the announcement in several passages. In Surah Hud, Prophet Ibrahim's wife was standing nearby. She reacted, and then came the good news of Prophet Ishaq, and after Prophet Ishaq, Prophet Yaqub. The announcement did not end with a child. It extended to a grandchild. A future beyond the future was being named. Prophet Ishaq would be born, and his own line would continue through Prophet Yaqub. The wife of Prophet Ibrahim responded with astonishment. She pointed to her old age and to the old age of her husband. This was not a routine announcement that could be absorbed without emotion. It collided with everything they understood about the ordinary course of life. Surah Al-Thariyat also describes her reaction. She approached in astonishment and spoke of her age and condition. The response directed her attention away from the limits of the household and toward the wisdom and knowledge of Allah. The Quran allows us to witness surprise inside a faithful home. That matters. Sometimes people imagine that strong Iman means a person never feels startled, confused, overwhelmed, or emotionally shaken. But the Quran shows human beings receiving news that exceeds their understanding. Amazement is not automatically disbelief. A question is not automatically rejection. Faith does not require pretending that the extraordinary feels ordinary. The wife of Prophet Ibrahim understood the physical facts of her life. She did not need someone to explain that old age had arrived. The response did not deny those facts. Instead, it placed those facts beneath a greater reality. The decree of Allah is not confined by the patterns His creation normally follows. This does not give us permission to promise miracles to people. It does not allow us to tell every grieving family that a specific outcome will certainly occur. It does not mean every closed door will reopen in the form we imagine. The good news of Prophet Ishaq was revealed information. It was not a general prediction that every elderly couple will receive the same announcement. The guidance lies elsewhere. Never confuse what you cannot see with what Allah cannot do. Human beings measure possibility from the evidence available to them. That is often necessary. We plan with the information we possess. We seek medical knowledge. We calculate resources. We study causes and effects. But faith prevents our calculations from becoming a claim that the power of Allah ends where our understanding ends. There is humility in saying, "I do not see how." There is a dangerous arrogance in turning that sentence into, "Therefore, Allah cannot." Prophet Ishaq entered the story at the meeting point between human limitation and divine power. His birth announcement carried hope, but it also carried responsibility. The Quran did not merely announce that a child would be born. In Surah As-Safat, the announcement identifies Prophet Ishaq as a prophet and one of the righteous. That description should stop us. The most important thing about Prophet Ishaq was not that his birth was unexpected. It was that he became a righteous prophet. People are often fascinated by beginnings. How did someone arrive? What unusual circumstances surrounded their childhood? What predictions were made about them? But an extraordinary beginning does not automatically create an honorable life. A person may be born into a respected family and still make destructive choices. Someone may receive remarkable opportunities and waste them. Another person may begin with almost nothing and build a life of integrity. The Quran turns our attention from the amazement of the birth to the quality of the person. Prophet Ishaq was among the righteous. Righteousness is not inherited like a family possession. It is lived. The announcement in Surah As-Saffat appears after the account of Prophet Ibrahim's great sacrifice test. The Quran does not name the son in that test. Muslim scholars have discussed the son's identity, and many identify him as Prophet Ismail. Other views appeared within classical scholarship. We should not convert a scholarly discussion into a false claim that the Quran explicitly names someone when it does not. For the story of Prophet Ishaq, the essential direct statement is clear. Allah gave good news of Prophet Ishaq, a prophet among the righteous, and placed blessing upon Prophet Ibrahim and Prophet Ishaq. Then the verse immediately gives a warning. Among their descendants would be people who did good and others who clearly wronged themselves. The blessing was real. The warning was also real. This is one of the most important passages for understanding spiritual inheritance. A blessed family can produce righteous people. A blessed family can also produce people who harm themselves through wrongdoing. The family name does not remove personal accountability. The honor of an ancestor does not become a shield for a descendant. The courage of a parent does not automatically become the courage of a child. The knowledge of a teacher does not automatically become the character of a student. The reputation of an institution does not guarantee the integrity of every person inside it. Even the descendants of prophets remained morally responsible. This is not a small warning. It dismantles the belief that belonging to the right group is enough. A person may say, "My family has always been religious." Another may say, "I come from a respected community." Someone may feel safe because of a name, a school, a movement, a position, or a history. These can be blessings. They can provide knowledge, examples, language, belonging, and opportunity. But a blessing becomes dangerous when it is treated as immunity. The verse does not deny the honor of Prophet Ibrahim or Prophet Ishaq. It protects that honor from being misused. It teaches every later generation that the correct response to a noble inheritance is not pride, it is responsibility. Surah Al-Ankabut places Prophet Ishaq within another powerful description. Allah granted Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Ishaq, and Prophet Yaqub. They were made righteous. They were made leaders guiding by the command of Allah. They were directed toward good deeds, the establishment of prayer, the giving of charity and worship. Leadership in this passage is not built around personal fame. It is rooted in guidance, good action, prayer, generosity, and worship. The leaders are worshippers before they are public figures. This corrects another human weakness. People are easily attracted to visible authority. We notice the person at the front of the room. We count followers. We measure reach. We study influence. The Quran directs our attention beneath the visible position. What guides the leader? Does the leader perform good? Does the leader maintain worship? Does the leader give? Does the leader live as a servant of Allah? Prophet Ishaq's leadership cannot be reduced to genealogy. He was not honored merely because Prophet Ibrahim was his father. The Quran associates him with righteousness and worship. A person does not become trustworthy simply by standing close to someone trustworthy. Character cannot be borrowed. If this journey is helping you understand the story in a new way, take a moment to like this episode, subscribe to the Guided Hour, and share it with someone who may benefit. Your support helps more families discover thoughtful and reliable Islamic storytelling. Now let us return to what the Quran reveals about Prophet Ishaq's character. In Surah Sa'd, Allah tells us to remember Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Ishaq, and Prophet Yaqub. They are described as men of strength and insight. Strength and insight belong together. Strength without insight can become reckless. A person may possess determination but move in the wrong direction. Someone may speak forcefully without understanding. A leader may act quickly while failing to recognize the harm being created. Insight without strength has a different weakness. A person may see what is right but never act upon it. Someone may understand injustice but remain silent whenever courage carries a cost. A person may recognize a destructive habit but refuse the difficult work of changing it. The Quran joins strength with insight. The servants being remembered could see and they could act. Their vision was not passive. Their action was not blind. This is a description of mature character. The passage continues by connecting them with remembrance of the final home. Their lives were oriented toward what comes after this world. That does not mean they neglected the world. Prophets engaged families, communities, worship, leadership, moral decisions, and human responsibilities. But the world was not the final measure of their success. A person who remembers the final home evaluates choices differently. Popularity loses some of its power. Immediate comfort no longer settles every question. A profitable action can still be rejected if it is unjust. A painful act of honesty can still be chosen if it is right. The final home changes the scale by which the present moment is judged. Then the passage describes them as chosen and among the finest. The Quran gives Prophet Ishaq an identity of great moral weight, even without narrating dozens of individual scenes. Righteous, a prophet, a leader who guided by the command of Allah, a worshipper, a person of strength and insight. A servant devoted to remembrance of the final home, chosen among the finest. This is not an incomplete portrait, it is a concentrated portrait. The Quran gives us the qualities by which his life should be understood. Prophet Ishaq also stands at the center of a remarkable family line. He was the son of Prophet Ibrahim. He was the father of Prophet Yaqub. He was the grandfather of Prophet Yusuf. In an authentic hadith, Prophet Muhammad described Prophet Yusuf through this honored line: the honorable son of the honorable son of the honorable son of the honorable. Prophet Yusuf, son of Prophet Yaqub, son of Prophet Ishaq, son of Prophet Ibrahim. 4 prophets in succession. Yet even here, the Quran does not invite us to admire a family tree as an ornament. Each name represents faithfulness under a different test. Prophet Ibrahim faced separation, migration, confrontation, sacrifice, and the rebuilding of a sacred foundation. Prophet Ishaq carried the promise forward in righteousness and worship. Prophet Yaqub faced family division and prolonged grief while refusing to surrender hope in Allah. Prophet Yusuf faced jealousy, abandonment, temptation, false accusation, imprisonment, authority, and the opportunity to forgive. The line is honorable because of servitude to Allah, not merely because the names are connected. This is how a legacy becomes meaningful. A legacy is not simply what one generation possesses. It is what one generation receives, lives, protects, and passes forward. Some inherit knowledge but do not practice it. Some inherit wealth but destroy it. Some inherit trust but betray it. Some inherit pain and pass the same pain to their children. Others interrupt that pattern. They receive confusion and pass forward clarity. They receive neglect and pass forward attention. They receive harshness and pass forward mercy. They receive knowledge and add humility to it. They receive faith and try to embody its character. The story of Prophet Ishaq stands quietly between generations. His father's mission did not end with him. His son's mission did not emerge from nothing. There was continuity. The Quran does not provide the private details of that continuity, so we should not invent them. But we can recognize what the revealed descriptions establish. Prophet Ishaq belonged to the chain through which guidance continued. There is a form of service that attracts attention because it begins something. There is another form that attracts attention because it confronts something. And there is a quieter form of service that preserves something valuable long enough for another generation to receive it. Families depend upon this quieter service. Communities depend upon it. Knowledge depends upon it. A teacher prepares students whose future work the teacher may never see. A parent creates patterns that may protect a child years later. A careful editor removes an error before thousands of people encounter it. A caregiver creates stability without standing on a public stage. A community member preserves trust through small, repeated acts of reliability. History may record the dramatic breakthrough. Allah knows the quiet faithfulness that made continuity possible. We should not claim that this is the only reason the Quran presents Prophet Ishaq as it does. We do not know the unstated purposes of Allah, but the revealed pattern allows a careful reflection. Not every meaningful servant is given the same kind of public story. The amount of attention a person receives is not a reliable measurement of their worth. Visibility and significance are not the same thing. The announcement of Prophet Ishaq also teaches us something about hope. When the angels brought the news, the circumstances seemed astonishing. Surah Al-Ankabut records Prophet Ibrahim asking how such good news could come when old age had reached him. He was told not to be among those who despair. Prophet Ibrahim responded that only those who are astray despair of the mercy of their Lord. This is a careful form of hope. It does not deny age. It does not deny ordinary causes. It does not demand that every desire be fulfilled. It refuses to declare the mercy of Allah exhausted. That distinction matters when people are suffering. Thoughtless optimism can become cruel. Telling a grieving person that everything will certainly happen exactly as they want may add another wound. Faith does not require us to fabricate promises. The Quran gives us something stronger than fabricated certainty. It teaches that the mercy of Allah is larger than our present view. Sometimes that mercy arrives through the outcome we requested. Sometimes it arrives through endurance. Sometimes through protection from something we did not understand. Sometimes through a different path. Sometimes through reward preserved for the final home. Tawakkul is not confidence in our prediction. It is reliance upon Allah. Sabr is not emotional numbness. It is faithful endurance without abandoning what is right. The household receiving the announcement of Prophet Ishaq experienced astonishment, reassurance, mercy, and blessing. The event invites hope, but not presumption. We do not say, because Prophet Ishaq was born after an astonishing announcement, every delayed hope will end in the same way. We say, because the power and mercy of Allah are not confined by our expectations, despair must never become our final theology. There is another detail inside the announcement. The good news included Prophet Yaqub after Prophet Ishaq. This meant the announcement contained an image of continuity. A child would be born, that child would live, a further generation would follow. The household was not only being told about the next moment, it was being shown a future extending beyond it. Human beings often live inside one urgent frame. We ask, what happens today? How will this month end? Will this problem be solved? Will this effort succeed? The Quran repeatedly widens the horizon. What will this decision produce later? What kind of person is being formed? What will the next generation receive? What consequence will continue after the immediate emotion passes? Prophet Ishaq's story is deeply connected to this widened horizon. His birth was not merely the resolution of one family's longing. It became part of a longer history of revelation, worship, struggle, and guidance. But the Quran's warning about his descendants prevents us from romanticizing that history. A good beginning does not guarantee every later choice. Every generation must answer again. Will it receive guidance with humility? Will it convert inherited blessing into personal arrogance? Will it protect truth or use history as a decoration? Will it serve Allah or simply speak proudly about ancestors who served Allah? These questions are not only for ancient peoples. A Muslim may inherit the Quran in the home, but rarely open it with reflection. A child may inherit religious vocabulary without witnessing mercy in practice. A community may celebrate its history while repeating injustices that its own teachings condemn. A family may speak often about respect while refusing to listen to one another. Inheritance is a beginning, it is not completion. The verse about the descendants of Prophet Ibrahim and Prophet Ishaq remains sharp because it refuses flattery. Some did good. Others clearly wronged themselves. The Quran does not allow sacred ancestry to erase moral truth. Perhaps this is one reason the story of Prophet Ishaq is especially valuable for families. Parents naturally hope to give their children something good: knowledge, security, faith, language, memory, a stable home, a relationship with the Quran. But no parent controls the heart of another person. Parents teach, model, protect, correct, pray, and create conditions for growth. Children eventually make choices. The warning about descendants is not an invitation to hopelessness. It is an invitation to sincerity. Raise children with care, but do not worship the image of a perfect family. Teach faith, but do not use family reputation to hide harm. Honor ancestors, but do not make ancestry the evidence of personal righteousness. Give children a legacy they can recognize in action. Let them see honesty when honesty costs something. Let them see apology after a mistake. Let them see worship joined with mercy. Let them see knowledge producing humility rather than superiority. Let them see that being part of a faithful family means greater responsibility, not greater permission to judge others. Prophet Ishaq is also named among a wider group of prophets whom Allah guided and favored. The Quran places him inside the shared message of prophethood. That shared message does not erase the individuality of each prophet. Their tests differed. Their communities differed. Their revealed stories differed, but they belonged to one tradition of submission to Allah. This protects us from treating prophets as competing heroes. Prophet Ismail does not need to be diminished to honor Prophet Ishaq. Prophet Ishaq does not need to be turned into the center of events the Quran does not assign to him. Prophetic honor is not a limited resource. The Quran teaches respect for all the prophets. The correct approach is neither exaggeration nor neglect. It is truthful honor. We affirm what revelation affirms. We remain silent where reliable knowledge does not reach. And we resist the urge to make a story more entertaining by making it less true. That restraint is itself part of religious responsibility. A fabricated scene may feel emotionally powerful, but sacred history is not ours to decorate without limits. The listener deserves to know when something is direct revelation, when it is authenticated reporting, when it is scholarly interpretation, and when it cannot be confirmed. Prophet Ishaq does not need invented drama. The revealed description is enough. He arrived through astonishing good news. He was a righteous prophet. He was blessed. He guided by the command of Allah. He belonged to worshippers who performed good and established prayer. He possessed strength and insight. He remembered the final home. He was chosen and among the finest. His family line continued through prophets, and his descendants, like every human community, remained accountable for their own choices. Return now to the opening moment. The years had passed. The ordinary expectations seemed closed. Visitors arrived. Fear entered before understanding. Then came reassurance. Then came the name of a child, Prophet Ishaq, and after Prophet Ishaq, Prophet Yaqub. The announcement crossed generations in a few words, but the deepest message was not simply that something unlikely occurred. The deeper message was that the gift became a trust. The promised child became a righteous servant. The family blessing became a responsibility. The honored lineage still contained moral choice. The future was opened, but no descendant was excused from answering Allah. Perhaps the story leaves each of us with two questions. What have I inherited? And what will become better because it passed through me? Maybe you inherited faith. Will it become mercy, honesty, courage, and worship in your hands? Maybe you inherited knowledge. Will it become service or merely pride? Maybe you inherited pain. Will you pass it forward unchanged, or will you seek healing so another generation carries less of it? Maybe you inherited opportunity. Will you consume it entirely for yourself, or use it to open a path for others? Maybe you believe you inherited very little. Even then, the choices you make now can become the beginning of a healthier legacy. You may become the first person in your family to apologize sincerely, the first to seek knowledge carefully, the first to end a destructive pattern, the first to join strength with insight, the first to think seriously about the final home when making everyday decisions. Prophet Ishaq's place in the Quran reminds us that quiet continuity can carry enormous meaning. Not every faithful life is narrated through a long sequence of dramatic events. Some lives become bridges. They receive a trust from those who came before. They live beneath its responsibility, and they pass guidance toward those who come after. The promise of Prophet Ishaq did not end at his birth. Its meaning appeared in the righteousness of the prophet he became, the guidance he carried, and the generations that followed. A blessed beginning was given. Then came the lifelong responsibility to live as a servant of Allah. That responsibility belongs to us as well. not to reproduce the exact life of another person, not to claim a prophetic status that belongs only to those chosen by Allah, but to receive whatever good has reached us with humility, to live it with strength and insight, and to pass it forward without pretending that a name alone can save us. You have been listening to The Guided Hour, where every journey carries a story and every story carries guidance. Until our next journey, may Allah increase us in beneficial knowledge and guide us toward what is true.